and also not allied together, but at adversary or arm's length, each acting in their own best interest. And again, there are undue stimuli, and in this market there are a lot. There are very few oceanfront properties. Many people want to buy them. That is affecting the values and shooting those properties up. And by the way, when the economy goes soft, the cities get popular and the suburbs get emptied out. You know, imagine, I was talking about living in the suburbs. I did for many years. In addition to what I had to pay monthly to live in the house, it cost me about another $7,000 a month to keep the house going. Lawn maintenance, all of those other things. A 3,000 square foot house, by the way, I don't have a $30 electrical bill like I do in my condo. It was about $600, right? Everything's more expensive, it goes up. I have the most gorgeous pool in Miami Beach right downstairs. I had an average pool which cost me $200 a month to maintain, which I never used. So again, undue stimuli, desperation on the buyer or seller, would make the price higher than the value or lower. Now, again, assumptions, reasonable time in the market, depending on the market, which changes. Informed buyer and seller, adversary, arm's length, neither one under due duress. And again, marketable title, transferability. And again, the term reasonable depends on the marketplace. And again, seller financing in this market would allow the seller to make a fortune on the buyer now, because institutional lending is almost impossible to get. Now again, appraisers are often asked to estimate other types of values. And some of the other types of value that appraisers may be asked to estimate are as follows. I actually am not saying no gum chewing. You see that? Okay.
Save 2 pieces for the gentleman in the
Oh,
back.
Bellini Mentos? And this isn't gum, this is better than gum. Oh my God, Bellini Mentos.
Yes, the whole class.
You're out. I'm taking your Mentos. You got it. So again, investment value is very difficult to estimate because the appraiser has to ask a lot of questions of the buyer as to their parameters. Is the value of a particular property to a particular investor? Potential purchasers of income properties commonly request investment value appraisal. We're going to learn about investment value. And again, it's the highest price an investor will pay based on their individual parameters and the lowest price the seller will accept. Investment value is value to a specific individual, while market value is a typical transaction is to a typical buyer. Again, we don't deal with typicals, we deal with individuals. You know, a lot of people make a fortune when there is a demolition of a building. There are people who compete to get the contents of the dumpster and resell it. And salvage value, people make a fortune on salvage value. They find really nice stuff in the dumpster. Now again, when a business fails, they have to get rid of all their inventory, all their fixtures, because they're closing down, right? There are 2 times that liquidation value is estimated. For a going business, the minimum it should get, and again, to get rid of all the assets, including furniture, fixtures, etc., because the business is failing. Now again, something you have to know about, and it's going to come up in chapter 18 tomorrow is what is called assessed value. When the county tax appraiser does their estimates, you are paying your property taxes by the estimate that is done by the county tax appraiser and their officers. There are others. Now again, insurable value. When you insure your property, the insurance company does not look at the land because the land does not get destroyed. They look at the improvement and the value of the improvement and how much they will insure it for based on where it's located. The closest to the water, the more expensive the insurance, right? Now again, there are unique values, values in use. So again, an agricultural property might become very, very valuable because as we grow in population, property owners who were once doing agriculture on their properties will now sell off to developers and make a fortune. And actually, the state of Florida favors agricultural users with very low tax rates in the county. Now again, when businesses add investors, the business must be appraised, and the investor, if they're buying a quarter of the business, now they know what 25% is worth. And luckily, we don't have divorces in Florida, so the other would not apply. Now again, on page 241, appraisal principles are the rules that govern the formation of value and help explain why and how values change in the marketplace. Again, we should explain these to members of the public and use them to ride if we are doing a CMA to estimate value also. So again, one of the most important things is substitution. We will discuss that, change, competition. Again, does a property conform to the marketplace in which it is located? If it is a small property among valuable properties, it sells for more per square foot than large properties among smaller. So again, in conformity, a small property, because of the land value among more expensive properties, will go up in value. Investors always want small, beat-up properties. Homeowners always want big, pretty properties, right? And again, a small house among larger will be more valuable per square foot through progression. A large house among smaller will actually sink down to market to the value of the others. Has anyone ever heard a phrase, and this is an economic phrase, reversion to the mean? The term reversion to the mean is this. Take a mean, it's 11, right? Now when you get a spike and things go jumping up, right? Everyone gets excited, but eventually things will come close to that mean where they were before. When there's a slump like crazy, everyone gets scared to death. Things will go back to the mean, right? So then, what you do in a minute is hardly irrelevant. The long term is the relevance of everything. Now, if you look at the value of real properties over the post-World War II era, we go like this. A couple of dips here, a couple of spikes there, on and on. But again, there's a constant growth in real property values, which must be recognized. Again, the only commodity, that goes up in value over time is real property because it's so scarce, yeah.
That's equilibrium, right?
Huh?
Equilibrium?
Equilibrium is where, anyone ever see a pendulum clock? Okay, watch this. The pendulum swings that way, the pendulum swings this way, right? Up and down. Now, where's equilibrium? Right there between up and down or down and up. That's market equilibrium. It's a theory that does not exist in real time. Free markets don't have market equilibrium. They have excitement. Market equilibrium is silly to wait for. And again, the only commodity that goes up in value is real property, so people buy real property with the anticipation that the values will go up in the long term. And again, when anything is put on land, by the way, folks, please, I don't know if you did it or someone else did, but be nice. I live here. Now again, let's go over those appraisal principles. The single most important appraisal principle for residential is what's called substitution. You highlighted that. And the principle of substitution simply says no one would pay more for a property the amount necessary to acquire an acceptable substitute. This principle is the basis for all mathematical methods used by appraisers to estimate value. Now, the key point of substitution is simply this. We get property owners who've lived in properties for many years. I'll take the perfect example. My Coral Springs friends, right? Big houses, kids are gone, paying maintenance like crazy, living in a house that's much too big for themselves. I used to have a 3,000 square foot house, you know, between the kids, the dog, my wife. I was humming, their friends, on and on. My oldest son went. We didn't even notice the difference a little bit because we lost one. When my youngest son left the house, all of a sudden, here we were, two of us. The den was my little man cave. The second, third, and fourth bedrooms were never used. We hung around in the kitchen a lot and our own bedroom, but the rest was useless. Now, many owners don't sell the big house with the expectation, I'm going to get so much money for it. Now I'll buy a condo, the penthouse on the beach, right? And it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way at all because, frankly, big houses are out of fashion. You know, energy prices killed that, right?
What?
Energy.
Energy prices.
Energy prices. You know, I live in a condo building which has a master air conditioning. You know what my electric bill is every month? During the real hot months, it goes up to $40. In the cold months, it's down around $30. Now, who's paying all that money? The owner of my condo. It's in their maintenance. I leave the house, when I leave the house in the morning, I turn the temperature down to 50.
What happened to?
We don't have heat in my building.
What happened to be ethical?
You're not gonna be-
Oh, very ethical, but I have to prevent mold and mildew. That's why I turn it down so high. Because when I'm in the house, I have to be warm, and I can't take the cold anymore. Just it's a fact. But again, I don't have to worry about the electric bills. If I turn it down to 50 in my house, a $3,000 square foot, my electric bill would be $1,000 a month. Yeah, but it maybe has to AC. Cools the whole building. No individual meters. So again, This is the single most important thing in estimating value, and appraisers are required to use all three approaches, as we will speak later. Now again, there are other principles you could look at your leisure. But when an appraiser is hired, on page number 242, they have to follow certain steps in their regulated appraisal. We don't have to follow the steps in our CMA, which is unregulated. So again, the 7 basic steps in the appraisal process. They're generally following the same sequence, regardless of the type of property to be estimated or the difficulty. And here's the order in which they are performed. First, the appraiser, once they are hired, must define the problem. So again, they have a purpose that is on right above that. The purpose and function are distinct. The purpose, estimate one of the types of defined values as discussed. There are many types of value, each having a definition of its own. Purpose relates to the work the appraiser was retained to perform, that is to estimate some of those many types of values. Again, the most common, market value. Now the function, how the client is going to use the appraisal. And again, this turns into a more complex issue because frankly, if the party is an investor, the appraiser is going to have to learn their parameters and explain why they came to their figures, even against the parameters of the investor. You're going to get a lot of investors here who say, I want to invest in Miami properties for income. I want to get 15% on my money. I have a simple answer. Get in your car, go about 800 miles north, you might find something. Not here. If you want to get about 3 or 4% at appreciation value, you can come here. But don't expect to make money the minute you come in. It's going to be a long term.